urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And what we have here is something a little bit different. One of my side quests, if you will. You know, every now and then I like to go off the beaten path. But it's been something that I've seen going on in the community as of late, especially with this whole Asmon Gold money buff going on, right? What we believe to be the rest of the Asmon Gold money buff, because it's wearing off fast. But a lot of people I've seen have like this almost like this defeatist mindset where they get so upset about the current iteration of Phil or what Phil has going on at the time, particularly when he's doing well. And I just want to say that too much of anything can be a bad thing, no matter what it is, even good things, because even when you lean too much into things that are fun or things that you like, there's going to be some level of overindulgence. And what's going to happen is you're going to suffer in other areas. That's why, it's okay to take a break. Chances are you can leave for 10 days, 10 weeks, probably even 10 years and come back. And chances are Phil will be doing what he was doing when you left. But I think it's important for people not to allow things like this to have so much power over them. You don't want something like this to have so much power over you to the point where it's affecting how you really feel in real life. Anything beyond a point and a laugh and maybe some critical breakdowns or whatever here and there. Anything outside of that, probably giving this too much energy. That's just my opinion. I would not, I would caution anybody to not be that invested in Phil to the point where it's affecting you in real time. And that's why I said breaks are important. Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, that's why we have weekends. This is why people take time off. This is why a lot of times people can stay together for a long time, because people are leaving to go to work during the day, and being absent from your significant other makes you miss them. But chances are, if you were around them all day, every day with no break, you would probably get tired of them. And that's okay. That's part of the human condition. We sometimes need to be away from something to appreciate it. And I'm not saying you should appreciate Phil, but I'm really speaking to how insignificant all this really is in the grand scheme of things. Really. For many of us, unfortunately, it's sad that a lot of people live and die never figuring out what their gifts are. And I do think that's the reason why a lot of people feel how they really feel on the inside. And if you're not familiar with what your gift is, it's what you do best with the least amount of effort. Now, I'm not talking about, I sleep well or I can eat a bunch of food. No nonsense like that. I'm talking about some real skill or talent that you have. And only you know what that is. You know what I'm saying? But that's not to be confused with something that you're good at. Because if you're not careful, you haven't discovered what your gift is, you can mistakenly be pushed into believing that the things that you're good at are your gift, like maybe your job, or, we can be good at a myriad of things, but that does not mean that that is our gift. And like I said, many people live an entire lifetime and pass away never knowing what their gift is. So I would say to many of you right now, if you don't know what your gift is, that's the number one thing you should be trying to figure out. No question about it. And once you figure out what that is, you should be trying to harness that, polish that into something that you can use to feed yourself and eventually your family. That's it. And from that, you will experience real fulfillment, and it'll give you a chance to recalibrate yourself, because anytime you step away from something and then go into new endeavors, right, there's going to be a feeling of insecurity, uncertainty, right? But you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Generally speaking, we grow when we're uncomfortable. Once we feel like we figure something out, we tend to get lazy, right? So I say all that to say, watching Phil in many ways can have like a poison or toxic effect on your brain, to the point where you will start to degrade because you're watching Phil, but you're not learning anything. Phil's not going to teach you anything, nothing. So if you're not going forward, you're going backwards, right? There's going to be some stagnation. You're going to start going backwards. This is why it's important to take breaks. This is why I don't upload every day. That's why you'll see me sometimes take 3, 4, sometimes even a week off. Gives me a chance to recalibrate myself. Now when I come back, I have itching ears, meaning what? I'm probably more in tune with what's going on, because a lot of times when you're in it and you're in it perpetually, you start to have white noise where a lot of the stuff that's obvious and in front of you, you know, you start to not be able to see it in the same way that you normally would, because you're so enraptured with whatever you have going on at the time. And the truth of the matter is, Phil's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it, man. And I know a lot of times when Phil speaks about the detractor community, he is projecting. And a lot of that is because Phil feels like as much money as he's made and as successful as he claims he is, Phil knows that things could have been much, much better had he taken some left turns in situations where he, took a right turn instead, right? We're not gonna go into the particulars, but y'all can see what I'm getting at. And what that makes him is a cautionary tale, because everybody's going to make mistakes, but there is a threshold that you can pass where you go past the point of no return, and as a grown man, all you have a lot of times is your balls and your word. And the second people stop believing you, you effectively have nothing, That's a big deal. And that's the space that Phil is in right now. And that's the space that he's going to perpetually be in. Will he squeak by like a cockroach, like a lot of people call him? Sure. But he'll ever only be surviving. He'll never be thriving. And like I said, I don't know what people have going on in their lives. I don't. And you never know what somebody's dealing with. You can never, you can only hope to imagine, but a lot of times you have no idea. But a lot of people have things going on with them internally because they have unrealized dreams. And a lot of that is based on the latent and untapped potential that they know they have, but they haven't been able to break the cycle that they're in, whether that be the work situation, a relationship you in, because breaking that cycle is going to cause some level of discomfort, right? Sometimes it's better to deal with the devil you do know opposed to the devil that you don't know. But a lot of you listening to me right now, you probably go to work and, you probably got an attitude, and they don't have anything to do with the people that you're working with or the job that you have to do. Is because you shouldn't be there. That's what it is. But when the weekend comes, you know that you should probably put some time towards that gift or polishing that stone, whatever that is. But instead, maybe you have a couple drinks, or maybe you go out with some friends, maybe you play video games instead, because ultimately you just want to relax. Then next thing you know, Monday comes again, and it's like this rat wheel. It's like, damn, I know I need to do this, but I never get to it. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, you got to break the cycle, and that's incumbent upon you to do that. And I do think if people put more emphasis in pursuing those things, the things that Phil do will bother you far, far less, because I get it, man. A lot of cats are waking up, going somewhere to a job site or whatever, working their ass off, coming back home only to see that this man child made $200, $300, $400. And you're like, damn, he haven't done a 16th of what I've done, and he's made 4 times what I made. So I can see how that can be annoying. Trust me, I get it. But this is why I emphasize men in particular leaning all the way into the gifts that you have. I don't give a damn how crazy it sounds. You know what you're good at, all right? And in your spare time, those are the things that you should be focused on. Bringing those things to their fullness, man. That's it. So I say all that to say that it's okay to take a break. You're not taking a break from much anyway. And what you're doing ultimately is giving your central nervous system, your neurological system, a chance to reset, run diagnostics on you, so you can start again, man. It's okay to recharge your battery, man. Ain't nothing on this platform that's going on that deep. Just not. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.